on a normal week schedule here, coming off the Thursday game. We had good work today. It's been kind of, look, I'm not from here, but, it's 58 again Sunday. I mean, the weather has been fantastic. So any questions relative to the game?
Yeah, you used a methodical type of offense a time or two. How do you balance that versus your regular?
A lot of it is the game we're playing. Yeah, a lot of it has to do with the opponent. I've said this before, I think, man, offensively, defensively, and even in the kicking game, we got to be wired in as to how we're playing the game, and then obviously sometimes you have to adjust. But a lot of it is opponent driven. Paying attention. How's our defense doing? How are we doing with field position? At this time of the year, we already talked about the turnover stuff, but there's times where you want to be able to control the game, and so I think that's important.
Harbaugh came out Monday and said,
Yeah.
Herbert, how does that
Our focus is this is a playoff game. I just finished telling the team, like, we have to focus on, all right, what are the strengths of Trey? So that's significant. They're different style players. But our focus is on this game and winning this game. Go ahead. You're dying.
It was kind of related to that question, but is any part of it a little tricky because some other starters you don't really know who's going to play?
We're preparing for all of them. Mm-hmm. This is more about us, and they're a real good football team. I mean, tremendous football team. Jim's done a great job. This is a very quickly became a real good division, and so the focus is really internal in our preparation.
Sean, they've got some guys, namely like Keenan Allen, it's a couple different things that hit a bunch of incentives. Does that help the game plan when you know that 6 or 7 catches get some?
I don't think, we're preparing. He's a fantastic player with great instincts. Joe coached him, and so, we're not. Those things aren't important. His incentives. Now Trout he's the only one. He needs 5, but that's what he averages a year, so that could be tough.
With it, Sean, obviously like a quarterback makes a difference in this regard, but defensively, obviously they've got really good players, Derwin James, but do you think just more about Minter and what he does from a...
They're great schematically, extremely sound. They take the ball away. They're one of the top 5 defenses. He's done a fantastic job. And they give you pressure looks, but I would say they really keep a lid on their coverage and force you to be patient, and it's a challenging, and we haven't played well or coached well in the 3 games prior, and we've got to improve on that. So
Bo has led the most game-winning drives of any QB this year. Just wondering, both operationally and then playmaking ability, what is it about him that is kind of added? Well,
I think those things kind of feed off each other. You get one in Philly, then you get another, and you get and all of a sudden you feel like you're in every game.
You guys signed Mustipher. Obviously, you're familiar with him.
Yeah, and look, don't read anything. We were discussing it, the injury to Luke, so the coincidence is that it's from L.A. and it's not where we're going to get all this information from. This was about having, for this stretch run, another experienced center. So.
Coach, you mentioned this is a playoff game multiple times this week. Do you expect that atmosphere from the crowd, from the players on Sunday in the stadium?
Man, I sure hope so. And I say this, I'm not being critical, but earlier, and so no shell games on the scoreboard, no follow the Bronco head or any. Let's get this, when they're getting in the huddle, deafening, and that's the 12th man. That truly, there could be no better. When A&M coined that phrase, and then the Seahawks bought it from them, it really fits. That is what's so exciting about this game, and then what a win in this game can do, for the next couple games. So, and remember, granted we were in a dome, but there's about 4 stadiums in this league that can be deafening, and I think ours in the last, beginning at Green Bay, we heard it. And so, yeah, they're an active part if they want 2 more home games, right? And so, no quizzes, no did you know, all right? You do none of that. That's stuff you do at the basketball games.
How do you feel, Jaleel, at running back, is easing his way in? I know you had said you want to give more time.
Yeah, and a lot of it is how the game unfolds. But, man, he's – you guys know his story. He's the first one here. He's focused. He's excited. We chatted a little bit ago. Deceptively, he's a strong runner. And he'll have an important role.
So how do you the importance of it feeling like a playoff game, but knowing that you get the bye if you win? How much is that emphasized of how important it is? So you can get time off?
It's time off. It's also a game you don't have to play. And we just had, so it's time off, but like you skip a weekend, and then it's, hey, 2 home games to get to where you want to go. And so, but the focus is on beating a real good Charger team.
You mentioned, obviously, Alex got a game ball, but just with the way that you've dealt with injuries here and there.
He played well.
Yeah.
And look, I gave him the game ball not having seen the tape. And then watching the tape and just seeing, like, it was fitting.
Sean, is there anything that you feel like you've learned about Bo as a player, as a competitor? That you.
I mean, every week there's things that, yeah, and just the thing that we've seen more, maybe because the game is a little different, is, man, how good he is off schedule. And now in the last game, I mentioned to him, and Davis the same way, hey, there's some good runs here. When this zone coverage, and he had the one tipped interception, but then you saw 2 or 3 8-9 yard gains. And so, but the off schedule, the things that present themselves in a game that you can't account for, and so we don't play in a perfect world, and that pocket is never always perfect. And so, but yeah, he's locked in. I know he's excited, and just as the rest of the team is.
Has he learned about you?
Yeah, I think so. I think back and forth. I told you that story. I can't recall when. At some point, he said, how many years you got left in you? And I said, shoot, I feel great. 6, 7, 8. I don't know. And then we had a little moment in Vegas, and I said, look, at this rate, 2. But it comes from such a competitive nature by both of us, I think, in a really good way.
Do you want that from him?
Yes.
You don't want him to be?
I want him to be himself. That's the most important thing. I think players, coaches, we get into trouble when we try to be someone other than who we are. And I think now that's hard to evaluate, really, in the whole scouting. Some of that stuff's hard to get.
What does that mean? You let him be himself, like, like who is he to you?
Yeah, he's extremely young, productive, successful quarterback who's, man, getting better and leading. I mean, he's all those things.
Denver may not be New Orleans when it comes to partying, but do you have an extra message for your players because it is New Year's Eve tonight?
I didn't know it was New Year's Eve. The most overrated holiday, honestly.
We said that today.
Like, seriously. I didn't know it was New Year's Eve, and so.
Is that something you had to tell your guys in New Orleans because it is party central?
Not the good teams. Not the good teams. And I do find what's interesting is as we get older and you're coaching younger players, these guys are much more in tune to their bodies. Today's generation doesn't drink as much. They're in tune to their sleep. This time, here we are finishing I can think of maybe one player fine, late to a meeting maybe, where normally, 8 years ago there'd be 15 and so, but I'm glad you reminded me. I don't know that I'm going to call an emergency team meeting, but they've handled all this stuff, tremendously.